It's really amazing when you think about it. How something as seemingly passive as, like, a tree, right,
Mm.
can actually hold some of life's deepest secrets.
Yeah.
And the source you shared, pasted text, dives deep into that idea. It
Mhm.
really explores how trees are, well, they're not just living things. They might even be guides to a richer way of understanding, well, existence itself.
Absolutely. What's really compelling here is, how ancient wisdom traditions, and the text draws from a lot of these traditions, they see a really profound meaning just in observing trees.
Hmm.
So in this deep dive, we're going to unpack some of those surprising insights, and we'll see why these ancient perspectives might particularly resonate with you, especially given how much you love gaining knowledge. You're all about those aha moments, right?
Absolutely. I live for those. Okay, so right off the bat, the text talks about trees as yogis. It mentions what Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, where he actually identifies himself with the people tree.
Right.
And then the text goes on to call trees mahayogis, like great yogis. So what's at the heart of this comparison?
It's a really powerful parallel. Think about it this way. A spiritual person,
Hmm.
right? They're often described as radiating some kind of positivity, almost like an aura.
Hmm.
The text suggests that trees do something very similar. They sort of emanate a sense of calm, even joy, just by being there.
Hmm.
And it points to the way a tree consistently reaches up, its branches stretching towards the sky, almost like it's drawing energy from some universal source for its growth.
Yeah.
But at the same time, its roots are firmly planted in the earth.
Mm-hmm.
That balance between reaching and staying grounded, that's really key.
I love that imagery, of this tree reaching for the sky but rooted in the earth.
Yeah.
It's really striking. And the text also talks about how trees move with natural forces,
Mhm.
which ultimately makes them stronger, even more beautiful. So, as someone who's always looking for fundamental principles, for life, what can we learn from that, from trees?
That's a great question. And it's interesting to consider how this might apply to us, to our own lives.
Mhm.
So instead of constantly resisting change, maybe there's actually strength in adapting and flowing with the inevitable currents of life.
Mm.
Much like a tree bends in the wind, but it doesn't break, right?
Right.
It's about finding resilience through flexibility.
Yeah.
That's the key.
That's such an insightful way to look at it. Now, another central teaching from the text is this idea of the law of giving.
Yeah.
The text really emphasizes how trees, like nature itself, they're in this constant state of giving. It's pretty profound when you think about it.
It really is. I mean, think about it. Trees, they provide shade, fruit, shelter,
Mm-hmm.
everything that countless creatures need for survival. They're just giving it all away
Yeah.
without ever demanding anything in return.
Right.
The source even points out that even after a tree's life is over, it still gives. It enriches the soil. It provides habitats.
Yeah.
It's really highlighting the powerful impact of truly selfless contribution, this giving without expectation.
It definitely makes you rethink your own motivations.
Yeah.
The text also talks about the patience and almost the karma of trees,
Yeah.
how they can endure harm,
Right.
but they continue their purpose. What can we take away from that kind of unwavering resilience?
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
I mean, the steadfastness of trees,
Yeah.
right? Their continued action
Yeah.
despite being harmed, like you were
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
It's a potent reminder of how important perseverance is. It suggests that even when we're faced with challenges, continuing to do our own work, pursuing our purpose,
Yeah.
that can be a really powerful path.
Definitely something to reflect on. The text also explores how trees have inspired us, provided for us. I mean, they've even been places of spiritual awakening, like the Buddha under the Bodhi tree, right?
Exactly. And that really underscores the incredibly deep and long-standing relationship that we as humans have with the natural world,
Mm-hmm.
particularly trees.
Mm-hmm.
They've been more than just resources for us. They've been sources of creativity, contemplation, like a connection to something larger than ourselves.
There's also this more subtle idea in the text about sensitivity. It says that our feelings, when we're near a tree, it can somehow affect its blossoming.
Right.
It's a pretty surprising thought, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And it introduces this fascinating concept of interconnectedness.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a sensitivity within nature itself that I think we often overlook. And it encourages us to be more mindful, about how we interact with the natural world.
Yeah.
It suggests that there's this reciprocal relationship, even where we might not expect one.
And looking at the bigger picture, the text mentions those beliefs from ancient texts about how planting trees can bring spiritual merit, long-term benefits, all of that.
Exactly. And while those beliefs are rooted in specific traditions,
Yeah.
the ideas themselves, they emphasize how lasting the impact of our actions can be
Mm.
and the importance of contributing to the well-being of future generations.
It kind of broadens our sense of responsibility.
Yeah, it makes you think beyond just our own immediate needs.
Absolutely.
So the deep dive wraps up with this beautiful verse.
Mm.
It compares a tree to a satpurusha, like a
Yeah.
truly virtuous person, giving without expecting anything in return, drawing energy from, I think it says, an eternal source.
Yeah.
It really drives home that message of, well, selfless grace,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
What's so powerful about that image is how it ties everything together.
Hmm.
The giving, the resilience, the deep connection to something so fundamental. It really does present a compelling model of quiet strength
Yeah,
and unconditional love,
yeah.
embodied in the natural world.
So to sum up this deep dive into your source, it's really shown us the profound wisdom that trees can offer. It encourages us to embrace this idea of selfless, giving, unwavering resilience, and of course, a deeper connection to the nature all around us.
It does. And it leaves us with this thought for you.
Yeah.
The next time you encounter a tree, whether it's in the middle of a bustling city,
Or in a quiet forest, can you sense that divine music of harmony and peace that the source describes? And what might you learn by just observing its silent strength and its constant selfless giving in the context of your own life?
that's something for everyone to think about.
It is.
And on that note, I think we'll wrap up for today.
Sounds good.